GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Montreal. I'm CJ Waterhouse. Tonight we'll break down the overnight delay pushing back the REM Saturday reopening and the heat wave's toll as Quebec hospitals hit overcapacity. Plus, eastbound Highway 40 is closed through July 13th, so plan your routes. Over to you, Jeff.
The Montreal Street Art Festival kicks off Saturday on St. Laurent Boulevard, running until Sunday evening with daily live mural demonstrations, interactive installations, and family-friendly workshops.
Artists from across Quebec and beyond will create 15 new murals during the festival, each piece unveiled at 3-hour intervals throughout the weekend.
Free guided tour begin each Saturday morning at 10 a.m., highlighting the history of St. Lawrence graffiti scene and introducing visitors to participating creators.
There's plenty to explore today, but first we'll dive into the news. Lots to get to, let's begin together. Good morning, Montreal.
Work that began overnight on the Réseau Express Métropolitain has pushed back the network's scheduled reopening for today. The operator confirmed that an external maintenance partner encountered unforeseen complications, extending the planned work beyond the original timeline. Riders had been warned that weekend service would be disrupted, and the additional delay now means trains will not resume until later this afternoon. Officials said the issue is being addressed, and that safety checks will continue before any passenger service resumes. Commuters should anticipate reduced service on all lines and look for alternative transit options, including bus routes in the metro, while the REM team works to clear the backlog. The situation remains ongoing, with updates expected as progress is made. The postponement affects the line that links downtown to the airport and the South Shore, a corridor used by riders. Additional communications will be released throughout afternoon as crews finalize repairs.
Yesterday at the Bell Center, the Dallas Wings edged the expansion Toronto Tempo by a score of 108-95, drawing a record-breaking crowd of 20,996 fans. Starguard Paige Buchers led the Wings with 34 points, steering the team to its third straight win on the road. The high-energy matchup featured fast break action and strong shooting from both sides, but Dallas held a steady lead after the third quarter. Toronto's rookie squad showed promise, yet struggled to contain Buchers and the Wings' perimeter attack. The record attendance underscores growing interest in the league's Canadian market as the WNBA continues to expand north of the border. The Wings will travel to Chicago next week for their next regular season contest. Fans cheered loudly as the final buzzer sounded, cementing the night as a milestone for women's basketball.
The Institut de la Statistique du Québec released new population forecasts at 4 a.m. this morning, showing that while the province's total headcount continues to climb, growth will be far from uniform. The projections suggest that several outlying regions, including parts of the Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean and Centre-Val d'Isle corridors, could see net losses over the next decade as younger households gravitate towards central urban corridors. Meanwhile, the Central Corridor and the Capitale Nord area are expected to absorb the bulk of new residents, driving a sustained rise in housing demand despite the overall increase being modest. Officials warned that the uneven pattern could strain municipal services in growth hotspots, while leaving shrinking locales with reduced tax bases. The ISQ emphasized the need for planners to factor these divergent trends into long-term development strategies.
Two of the league's top receivers will square off in a rare sibling showdown when the Alouettes host the Stampeders later today. Twin brothers Tyson and Jalen Philpott, both starring at the wideout position, will line up on opposite sides of the field. Tyson, a key target for Montreal's passing attack, has led the Alouettes in receptions this season, while Jalen has paced Calgary's aerial game with a similar tally. Their parents said the matchup feels like a family reunion, but the stakes are purely football. The game, part of the regular season schedule, promises extra drama as each brother tries to outcatch the other for a decisive play. Fans can expect a high-energy contest at the Bell Center, with both sets of supporters eager to see which Philpott makes the bigger splash.
At 12:17:55 on Friday, officials confirmed that the Réseau Express Métropolitain Consortium, although classified as a public service under the Quebec Labor Code, is not bound by an essential service duty should its workers walk out. The ruling means the private operators of the rapid transit network, which links suburbs to downtown, could suspend service during a strike without violating the code. The decision stems from a legal interpretation that distinguishes public service status from mandatory continuity of operations. Transportation planners noted that the network serving the greater metropolitan area remains privately managed, and the absence of an essential service clause could affect commuters if labor disputes arise. No immediate strike has been announced, but the clarification clarifies the consortium's obligations under provincial law. The clarification was issued by the Quebec Ministry of Labour following a request for interpretation by the consortium's legal team.
Later, we'll break down the $217 million plan to modernize Quebec's community infrastructure and its impact on Montreal. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the break. Let's dive into today's headlines, then Jeff Laflamme will take us to the local stories.
Quebec hospitals are now operating beyond their capacity as an unprecedented heat wave combines with a surge in trauma cases and chronic staffing shortages. Emergency room physicians report waiting rooms filled beyond normal limits, while doctors say the sweltering temperatures are worsening patient conditions and increasing the number of heat-related injuries. The province's health system, which routinely runs near full occupancy, has reached a level of crowding that officials describe as unusual for July. Nurses and support staff are stretched thin, leading to longer triage times and delays in routine procedures. Hospital administrators are coordinating with regional health authorities to divert non-critical patients and to request additional temporary personnel, but the strain persists. Residents seeking urgent care are advised that wait times may be significantly longer than usual while the system works to manage the combined pressures.
Yesterday, the Quebec government unveiled a $217 million plan to revamp cultural, sports, community and recreation tourism sites across the province. The funding will flow to projects that upgrade local arenas, art centers, heritage museums, and park facilities, giving families easier access to fresh programming and better maintained spaces for weekend activities. Residents can expect renovated swimming pools, modernized community halls, and upgraded trails that support both leisure and tourism. Officials say the investment is part of a broader push to refresh public infrastructure and keep services competitive, which should help sustain local events and attract visitors. By targeting a mix of cultural and recreational venues, the province aims to boost everyday quality of life while also supporting the tourism sector that many neighborhoods rely on. The announcement gives hope that community groups will soon see tangible improvements in the places where they gather and celebrate.
Yesterday, Natation Quebec revealed plans to explore building an international standard swimming pool within the Claude Rabia Sports Complex. The federation said the province currently lacks venues that meet the specifications required for world-level competition, prompting the search for a site that can host such events. Claude Rabia was identified because its existing facilities could accommodate a new pool that conforms to the dimensions, timing systems, and spectator capacity outlined by the global governing body. Officials indicated the proposal is still in the feasibility stage, with design concepts and funding options under review. The briefing emphasized that the pool would comply with Fédération Internationale de Natation standards. If approved, the project would give local athletes a venue for training and competition without needing to travel outside the province. The federation hopes the addition will strengthen Quebec's presence on the international swimming circuit.
Yesterday, the mayor of Montreal, Sorja Martinez Ferrada, announced that the former Lachine Marina will remain closed. After reviewing the redevelopment proposal, the city concluded the projected expenses would strain municipal finances. The mayor described the plan as financially irresponsible and ruled out reopening the waterfront facility. The decision ends a months-long debate over converting the derelict dock into a mixed-use space that many hoped would boost local recreation and small business activity. Officials said the budgetary concerns outweigh potential benefits, and the site will stay dormant while alternative uses are explored. Residents of Lachine who anticipated new parkland or commercial opportunities will have to await a different proposal from the city. The council's review showed the estimate would exceed the redevelopment budget by millions, a cost that could appear in future tax bills. Planners said they will look for lower-cost riverfront options.
The eastbound lanes of Highway 40 are closed between the Côte de Lys interchange and Highway 15, a blockage that began on the evening of July 10th and will last until the morning of July 13th. The shutdown affects a key commuter corridor, forcing drivers to seek alternate routes such as Boulevard St. Laurent, Descaries, or the westbound side of Highway 40 where possible. Traffic models predict significant delays on surrounding arterial roads, especially during Saturday's peak travel hours. Construction crews cite safety concerns as the reason for the extended weekend closure, though no further details were released. Motorists are advised to check real-time traffic feeds before departing and to allow extra travel time. The closure remains in effect as of today, with officials monitoring the situation and planning to reopen the eastbound flow on Monday morning.
Let's get a look at your afternoon forecast and see how the weather's shaping our day.
A steady mid-level jet from the west keeps the high pressure locked over Montreal, sealing clear skies. The all-time high for this date sits at 31.4 degrees Celsius, recorded in 2025, when a lingering heat dome pushed temperatures well above the usual summer peak. The record low, 11.8 degrees, fell in 2016 during a sharp Arctic intrusion that plunged the city into a brief freeze despite normally mild July nights. By contrast, today's climatological normals hover around 26 degrees for the high and 15 for the low, underscoring how today sits comfortably between those extremes. The live radar shows a broad swath of clear air over southern Quebec, with no echoes across the island. A high-pressure ridge anchored over the Great Lakes is capping any ascent, while the mid-level jet from the west streams aloft, steering any disturbance well north of us. With the atmosphere stable, we expect the sky to stay cloudless through the afternoon, and the map will remain empty as we move toward the evening. At noon, Montreal sits under a clear sky with a temperature of 25 degrees and a gentle north wind of 7 kilometers per hour. The air mass is warm and modestly humid, a product of the steady high pressure that has settled over the region and is not changing. Overhead, a mid-level jet flowing at 77 kilometers per hour from the west transports warm air eastward, reinforcing the ridge and keeping clouds at bay. As the sun climbs, temperatures will edge toward 27 degrees by mid-afternoon, then hold steady into the evening, with a brief overcast spell around 3 p.m. as a weak boundary drifts east. The ultraviolet index peaks at 6, and the strongest gusts will reach 14 kilometers per hour from the northwest. No weather alerts are active, and the pressure remains high and steady, ensuring a tranquil day. Looking ahead, tomorrow brings a sunny day with a high of 28 degrees and a low of 16, the ridge persisting over the province. Monday shifts to a mostly overcast sky, yet the high climbs to 29 while the low rises to 20, reflecting a modest surge of warm air from the south. Tuesday marks the warmest spell, with temperatures reaching 33 and a low of 21. A lingering moisture band introduces a 20% chance of rain, hinting at the first showers of the week. Wednesday returns to clear conditions, high 27 and low 18, as the jet stream arches northward. Thursday remains mainly clear, mirroring Wednesday's temperatures, providing a brief respite before the weekend. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll check today's traffic updates, preview what's on the schedule, and recap the Canadiens Trade and Chamber Spotlight. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Eastbound traffic on Highway 40 is partially closed between the Claymont Bridge and the Metropolitan Interchange, adding roughly 10 minutes to the usual travel time. At the same time, the exit from Route 340 onto Autoroute 30 eastbound is shut, forcing drivers onto Boulevard St. Laurent. Northbound lanes on Descaries Highway between Sherbrooke Street and Côte Saint-Luc are reduced to a single lane, so expect slower movement. Westbound lane reductions continue on the Claymont Bridge, and the overpass on Highway 520 is under reconstruction, limiting capacity at peak times. Southbound lane in the Dorval Tunnel is closed for inspection, and a lane on Lacordaire Boulevard above Highway 40 is also out of service. The Cavendish Boulevard overpass remains under work, while St. Urbain Street is fully closed with traffic detoured via Boulevard St. Laurent. Transit runs on schedule with no reported delays. These conditions should hold through the afternoon, especially on the main east-west corridors.
First up, the Les Premiers Vendredis Street Food Festival rolls through the city, bringing over 40 food trucks, live entertainment, and cultural celebrations to the streets of Montreal. It's a free admission feast that turns a regular Saturday into a culinary adventure for the whole family. Next, Time Out Market Montreal is buzzing with free kids activities and surprise Cirque du Soleil performances inside the market, giving parents a chance to relax while the little ones explore and enjoy the magic. And for art lovers, the Cirque du Soleil's Echo Photo exhibition is on display at the same market, showcasing unseen behind-the-scenes moments that reveal the craft behind the show and invites visitors to step behind the curtain of the famed troupe. All three are happening right now, so whether you're hungry, looking for family fun, or craving a visual treat, there's something to spark your Saturday. And now here's Jason with sports.
Here's the latest on Montreal's teams and the sports buzz around town. The Vancouver Canucks have taken veteran forward Brendan Gallagher from Montreal, completing a deal that brings him to British Columbia in exchange for future considerations, according to CBC Sports NHL. The move ends Gallagher's tenure with the Canadiens and adds depth to the Canucks forward group. Evelyn Badu delivered a spectacular performance for the Montreal Roses, netting 3 goals as the club overwhelmed Vancouver Rise with a 5-1 victory in the Northern Super League, reports CBC Sports Soccer. The hat trick highlighted Rose's attacking firepower and secured a convincing win on Saturday. In Montreal, the Wings edged out the tempo, while the event set a new attendance milestone for the WNBA, Sportsnet notes. The record-breaking crowd underscores growing interest in women's basketball, and the Wings' victory adds another chapter to the league's expanding presence in Canada.
MTY, the Montreal-based restaurant group anchored in the downtown core, announced a sweeping restructuring. After a year of slipping sales and profit, the company will shutter 68 locations across the country, though none of its Quebec eateries will close. The decision reshapes the chain's footprint, giving remaining sites a chance to refocus on quality and local flavor. For neighborhoods losing a familiar spot, the closures are a reminder that even big names must adapt, while Montreal's culinary scene retains its full complement of MTY brands, keeping jobs and dining options alive here. It matters because MTY's roots run deep in our city, and its resilience reflects the spirit of Montreal itself. And finally, a look at MTY's decision to close 68 restaurants, and how local entrepreneurs are turning this challenge into opportunity.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMNA for the local Sunset Montreal's evening newscast.
A massive $159.9 million affordable housing complex is rising in St. Mitchell, promising new homes for families while reshaping the neighborhood's skyline. The project's progress and community impact are under close watch as construction moves forward. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks CJ Waterhouse. I'm standing on a corner of Rue St. Mitchell where the clang of steel girders and the hum of concrete mixers fill the air. A towering scaffold wraps the half-built structure, its orange safety net fluttering above rows of workers in hats. Trucks unload bundles of brick and reclaimed lumber, while a crane sweeps a steel beam into place, its shadow stretching across the sidewalk. Federal, provincial, and municipal officials mingle with members of the Black Communities Housing Society, their badges glinting as they cut the ribbon. The project, a $159.9 million effort, will add over 400 affordable units, promising families a stable roof in a neighborhood where rents have surged. This isn't just concrete and steel. It's a promise of security for the people who call St. Mitchell home. The scent of fresh cement mixes with the aroma of baguettes from the corner bakery, while a few children wave from the curb, eyes wide at the rising towers. Carl Dumont, virtually at St. Mitchell neighborhood.
On a bright Thursday afternoon at Pierre Elliott Trudeau International Airport, a midsize Air Canada flight touched down and in a surprising slip veered off the runway onto the grass. The aircraft, carrying a handful of families returning from a weekend in the Laurentians, came to a gentle halt just beyond the lights. Airport crews already on standby rushed forward, their orange vests flashing against the late summer sky. Within minutes, a team of firefighters and ground handlers had secured the plane, guided the passengers onto the tarmac, and escorted them to a nearby terminal where a local bakery set up a coffee station for those waiting. One mother, clutching a toddler, said the quick assistance turned a frightening moment into a reminder that the city looks out for each other. The pilot, praised for his calm control, shared a smile with the crew as the aircraft was towed back for a routine check. In the end, every traveler walked away unharmed, and the airport's swift response left the community feeling a little more connected.
On the bustling edge of the St. Lawrence corridor, near the historic Port of Montreal, a small gathering of truckers, regulators, and community volunteers assembled beneath a canopy of orange safety vests. The focus was a modest wooden table strewn with printed exam sheets, a steaming cup of coffee, and the quiet confidence of a dozen Ontario drivers ready to earn their Quebec certification. After a series of recent collisions that left residents uneasy, Quebec's Transportation Ministry introduced a practical knowledge test, crafted with input from both safety auditors and veteran drivers. One of the participants, a 34-year-old from Windsor, recalled how the exam scenario-based questions mirrored the very streets he now navigates daily, and how the friendly debrief after the test turned strangers into allies. When he received his certificate, he smiled, saying the process felt less like a hurdle and more like a welcome into a community that cares about every mile. It's a simple reminder that a shared commitment to learning can turn a road of worry into a route of confidence.
Thank you, Montreal, for tuning into the lunch break. Tonight's highlight, seeing the Dallas Wings lift off with a win over the Toronto Tempo in front of a record crowd, reminded us how vibrant this city can be. We appreciate your energy and we'll be back tomorrow with more stories you care about.